What's up, everyone? Welcome to the February 16th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at PrizePicks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. Today, we have a massive 11-game NBA slate, second to last day before the All-Star break. We are waiting on a bunch of news that is very likely to change the slate between now and lock. So as always, be sure to tune in to the Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock from 4:45 p.m. Eastern up until tip tonight. Probably even a bit more important than usual because I think a lot of stuff's going to change with how big the injury report is right now and how much news we're waiting on. But for now, taking a look at 5 of the top tournament options as things currently stand on DraftKings. Coming in at number 5, Nikola Jokic is $12,400. He's the most expensive player on the slate. He's obviously only center eligible. It's tough to get there. There's a high opportunity cost, especially on a slate this big. But Jokic is only projected for 8% ownership, has about a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. We know that Jokic is arguably the best point per minute option in the NBA. He's certainly the best point per minute option on tonight's slate. He's averaged 1.75 DraftKings points per minute overall this season. You can expect him to play 33 or 34 minutes on a nightly basis. And tonight, he's going up against the Golden State Warriors, so it's a nice pace up spot for Denver as well. If we get value opening up throughout the day, Jokic's ownership will increase, but his chances of being optimal will probably increase as well, as it just becomes a little bit easier to get there. But anytime that you're able to get Jokic at sub 10% ownership on a slate where we do know that there is at least some value, it's a pretty appealing spot to be at in tournaments. Number 4, Ish Smith, $4,100 point guard, currently projected for about 3% ownership with a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Now, this is a thin play for sure. This is one of the first plays that probably starts to disappear as we get more value later on. But with the way things look right now, I'd be very interested in Smith at this projected ownership. He's giving you 21 minutes, give or take, since joining Washington. He's the backup point guard behind Howell Neto. But the nice thing about Smith is there is some volatility in his minutes. We haven't seen it happen yet, but there's no reason that Smith can't occasionally close a game if he's playing well in the second half. Washington can elect to stay with him instead of bringing Neto back into the game. If that happens, then naturally you're getting Smith just priced lower than he should be, because it would mean he's playing 24, 25 minutes instead of 20 or 21. But also, I think we see an uptick in production from Smith now that he's on the Wizards. With Charlotte this year, Smith averaged 0.85 DraftKings points per minute. In his first couple of games with Washington, he's averaged 1.2 DraftKings points per minute. But we can also go back to last season. And if you take Bradley Beal and you take Russell Westbrook off the floor, Ish Smith has played 207 minutes with the Wizards since the start of last season. He's averaged 1.03 DraftKings points per minute. He has a 42% assist percentage. The second unit with the Wizards just doesn't have the same amount of ball handlers that the Hornets do. When Ish Smith's playing with the Hornets, typically he's playing with Terry Rozier. Maybe you have Miles Bridges out there. He doesn't have those guys to compete with Washington. So I do think that we see an improved fantasy version of Smith going forward compared to what we had seen earlier this season. Number 3, Mo Bamba, $4,400 center, coming off of a game where he played about 11 minutes. Doesn't inspire much confidence. Shouldn't feel very good about getting to him, but we're at pretty close to a floor price for Mo Bamba. $4,400 for someone that has averaged 1.03 DraftKings points per minute this season. He's only projected for about 6% ownership with a 12% chance of being in the optimal lineup. You are definitely taking on a risk by going here. Between the fact that Orlando frequently gets blown out and the fact that Bamba's minutes are just all over the place, you can't feel very good. But you also don't have to go back too many games to see a game where Bamba played 30 minutes, to find a game where he played 27 or 28. At this price tag, you just kind of need a normal rotation where Bamba plays in all 4 quarters for him to exceed this salary. Number 2, Tyrese Halliburton, $8,400 point guard, small forward, projected for 13% ownership with a 19% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Malcolm Brogdon is out once again tonight against the Washington Wizards. Halliburton has averaged 1.2 DraftKings points per minute since joining Indiana. He has a 19.4% usage rate, 34.5% assist percentage, and we can expect him to play at least 36 minutes tonight in a pretty good matchup against the Wizards. Halliburton is just a really good fantasy option. We saw similar production from him in Sacramento whenever De'Aaron Fox was out, and now he's pretty much just permanently playing under those conditions. So he looks very good tonight. He's expensive enough to where the ownership should be kept in check, but he's still projected to be a little bit under-owned compared to his chance of being in the optimal lineup as things currently stand. And number 1, sticking with the Indiana Pacers, Lance Stevenson, $3,800 with point guard and small forward eligibility. Stevenson's risky. We saw it last night. I think a lot of people, myself included, expected 26 to 28 minutes from Stevenson with Chris Duarte out. He was coming off of a Super Bowl Sunday game where he had played about 32 minutes. We got 20 minutes from Stevenson instead. That risk is always there because we have certainly seen Indiana, whenever they can this year, kind of pull back on Stevenson's minutes outside of games where he's playing particularly well and kind of forces his way onto the floor more. But the reason that I still really like him here is he still played 20 minutes. He's only $3,800. He has guard and forward eligibility. Overall this season, he's averaged 1.1 DraftKings points per minute. He's averaged 1.02 DraftKings points per minute since Halliburton joined the team over those 3 games. So you're talking about a very productive player where if he does give you 20 minutes tonight, he's not putting up a slate-breaking score most likely, but he's also not killing you at that price tag. And if he does play well and he does find his way into, let's say, 26 minutes, there's a good chance that you actually do need Stevenson to win a tournament. So right now, only projected for 12% ownership with an 18% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's my number 1 tournament option as things currently stand on DraftKings. So to recap, the top 5 DraftKings tournament options are Nikola Jokic, Ish Smith, Mo Bamba, Tyrese Halliburton, and Lance Stevenson.